Hello, everybody. So, welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd. This is Bryan C.P. Steele, your professional nerd. And I am a little discombobulated. If you looked at the thumbnail, you'll notice that I titled today's episode Oops. And I titled it Oops because I normally record on sometimes Wednesdays, but most of the time on a Thursday, like right before I go live the day before or the day after. And yesterday I had a lot going on. I was juggling a bunch of things. I was getting the last part of my car fixed and just all over the place doing things. And I completely forgot to record an episode. And so I was at the bank today doing bank stuff this morning after I got done with the gym. And my banker person looked at me and said, hey, how's that whole YouTube thing going? And I stopped and went, oh no, I'm supposed to have an episode in like 3 hours. So when I got home, I realized there's just no way that I could record one and get it edited and uploaded and into YouTube and everything so I was like, you know what, impromptu live, and we'll go that way. We'll turn it into a little bit of an AMA, and I'll tell you about some cool stuff that's happening over the next hour. Avi says hellos, and you're more interested famous. Oh, internet famous. No, he just knew what I did because he's a gamer. It's not a far leap if you have some kind of interaction with me and you're a gamer, you probably have heard about the channel in some capacity. So either way, I'm glad that he mentioned it because otherwise noon my time would have just come and gone, and I wouldn't have thought anything of it until somebody reached out and was like, oh, hey, by the way, your episode's not loaded. I'd like, oh, you are correct. So yeah, let me go ahead and do the week in Bryan. I normally go through. Personal wise, things are great. Car's all fixed up. Animals, the weather's good. Animals are doing good. Natalie's doing good. Family's doing good. And things are pretty solid. Hello, David. No, it's just that things are going very well. Time at the gym is going well. I mentioned going to the bank. I'm doing some hopefully beneficial banking with some of the house stuff. We'll see where that goes. A lot of things are somewhat dubious on the financial market side of things, so we'll see what we see. It looks promising, but I never want to get my hopes up that something amazing is going to happen. Just hope for the best, and we'll see what happens. Gaming wise, I played like 3 hours of Minecraft the other day. One of my best friends in the whole wide world. We try to get together every week to play Xbox because he lives several states away, and it's a good way for us to kind of decompress as old married dudes. But it's also a way for us to kind of catch up and see how things are going. And I come to learn that he actually needed it more than I did that day. He left his job of like 10 years. He decided to resign. And not over like any kind of major moral issues or anything weird like that. It was just that things were not going the way that he wanted them to be going, and he was spinning his wheels, and he wants to try some new stuff. And it was awesome. I'm very proud of him, and he needed some nice mindless electronic gaming to get his mind off of that sort of thing. And it was awesome because I hadn't had a great day either. So the two of us kind of just sort of jumped into his Minecraft world that he's been building for a year or more, and we just sort of did the Minecraft thing, and I had realized that it had been so long since I actually played that I kind of forgot how to do things. Like I sort of was like, okay, I guess I have to punch a tree. I completely forgot how to do stuff. Over the course of some time, we immediately fell back into old habits. It's like, okay, this is how I do stuff. This is what I need to build, so forth and so on. But it also had been such a long time since I had played that there were like new creatures and stuff in it. It was neat. And for what it's worth, I actually really enjoy the game. I think that it's kind of relaxing. It's like playing with digital Legos, with the added enjoyment of occasionally being eaten by a zombie, uh, uh, which that's the thing I like to do. Um, yeah, so I think that that's pretty much it as far as gaming goes. I didn't do a lot of outside gaming because I've been working a lot. We'll get to that in a second. Um, but hobby wise, I did some hobbying. So I got a pretty good chunk. I'm about we'll say a third of the way done with all the sculpting needs on my Game Hole charity submission. I want to wait until it's at least primed before I start showing people what it looks like, kind of works in progress. Um, but I'm very happy with it so far. And I think that it's going to be a very cool little like desktop style like tchotchke piece for someone, whoever ends up buying it at the auction. Um, Also assembled a whole team, a whole squad of Martian Banshees for my Capital Force in Warzone. Um, oh, that's a lie. I did get some game. I'll talk about that in a second. Haha. Um, and got some 3D printing done. I got my printer back up and running. Yeah, just to kind of actually get some decent hobby time in, which was good. I need to be able to do that. It's good for my brain. Speaking of gaming, I talked about that. I actually did a demo day at our local store for Warzone last weekend, and it was really awesome. We had a good time. Showed a new person how to play. Showed a person who only played a couple games some of the things that they were doing. I'm not going to say doing wrong, but doing kind of counterintuitively to the way the rules want your guys to do stuff. But yeah, it was a good time. I got my butt kicked because it's one of my games. So if it's that I'm building, I guarantee I'm terrible at it. Also, my dice were not very fantastic in some instances, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's nice to show people the game. It's nice to dispel in some kind of misconceptions about how some of the rules work, that kind of thing. It's always nice to do that for the populace, and doing it at a store, doing it at the local store. It's helpful because it gives me an opportunity to show the store that, hey, there are people here that are already playing and will absolutely be buying when we go to retail. So please buy our stuff. And then work stuff is pretty awesome. I'm obviously still doing a bunch of stuff with Evil Genius. Got to actually put words on the Intergalactic Heroes Game Master's Guide. I haven't touched it in a little while. So getting to go back to it and expand on some of the alternate rules and settings and stuff like that makes me very happy. Additionally, getting to put some of the aliens that I had built for Rebel Moon, giving them a new coat of paint, some nomenclature changing, and putting them into the Game Master's Guide as things that people will be able to use. Very happy with that. Got some concept art back for, potential concept art, because they might need some tweaking, for one of the alien species in Intergalactic Heroes, the Gabar. I'm very, very excited to be able to dig into the further files. I only got a chance to like surf on a couple of them, and it's neat. I love getting to see an artist's rendition of my concept. Like turning my words into a piece of art is awesome. It's a neat transformation. And obviously, the artist needs to be able to tweak things, and if something's just not right, you can change it. But over the course of a couple of revisions, I love to see the final product. And this is going to be one of those cases where these initial species, these initial origins that we're creating for Intergalactic Heroes, this is going to kind of set the theme, set the tone for the Throne World Saga, for our IP. So I'm super excited to see what comes out of that, because those are the species you're going to see in a lot of the other art pieces. These are going to be the benchmarks. So yeah, I'm excited. It'd be fantastic. Shadowrun's always doing great. This last week, I don't know if any of you watched the Shadowrun actual play World of Shadows that I'm in on Monday nights at 8:30 on Six Sides of Gaming. The episode did not go up on this Monday because the Six Sides of Gaming family, we had a loss, a devastating loss. One of the mainstay the player who plays Leroy, Devin, his father passed away, and it was very sudden, and it put a pretty significant ripple in kind of everybody, which I can't imagine what he's going through. So it is what it is. Next week the episode will happen. The episode that was going to happen on Monday will happen next Monday. It's no big deal. And in fact, actually, if you go to Six Sides of Gaming and look up the Deadliest Dungeon, one of their playlists, Devin ran his father's adventure that he had run Devin through very early in life. He ran it for the Deadliest Dungeon crew on Six Sides, and the video's up. You know what? I'm going to put the link to that video in the description. Oh, this is a live. I don't know if I can do that. You know what? I don't know if you can do it. If you can't, or if I can't, go to the YouTube channel for Six Sides of Gaming. Obviously, when this is done, stay with me first. But then look through their playtests or their playlists, find the Deadliest Dungeon, and it should be one of the most recent videos is the In Memoriam. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun adventure, but it's also, I would love for that to turn into one of the most viewed videos in Six Sides history, if only just to honor Devin's dad. So please go check that out. Yeah, I mean, Warzone's going great. Got to see some new sculpts. They need to go back to the sculptor to do some tweaking. Got to see some really cool concept art for something upcoming. Needs some tweaking, but again, it's always a really good start, an initial cool start to see. And talk to a couple of painters to see if maybe we can get some of the Wave 2 marketing sculpts painted. So new and good things are on the horizon. Speaking of which, I'll be talking more about it next week, but Xeogenesis, a game that I am helping with. I helped with a bunch of playtesting and a little bit of dev work. I actually wrote one of the initial design briefs back when it was still just very in its infancy, which they ended up going with Andy Chambers to do the final, the final initial rule set, which is awesome. I get to work with Andy again. We haven't worked on the same project together since Starship Troopers back in the early 2000s. But the Zeo team they're crowdfunding right now. I think they're through BackerKit, not through GameFound, or I don't remember. I think they might be through BackerKit. Either way, or maybe they're through GameFound. But their campaign is live. It's already hit goal, and in fact, they actually just got one of the two things that I will actually be designing for the game: the solo play mode and the campaign mode. They just unlocked as a stretch goal the solo campaign mode or solo mode, and then the campaign mode is based on the number of backers. So even if you just pop over there and give them $1, it'll tick that number up to get closer to unlocking my campaign mode. So yay! I think that's mostly it. I know I'm still working on a bunch of stuff for Kong. We have a book almost we have what 4 books coming back from the printer anytime now. But obviously with the whole tariff situation, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of we don't know what's going on. But either way, all those projects are done, and we're just waiting for them to come back so we can get them to backers. So yay! So anything else? I think that's it for as far as my work stuff goes. I don't think I'm missing anybody. But yeah, so yeah, we are at the part of the live where I am no longer talking about myself, and I get to talk about one of you guys. So it is the 2nd of May, meaning that I get to announce the April comment raffle winner. And that would be at Useless Wizard on episode 273. The Randominator picked you as the comment raffle winner. So after this live is concluded, I will hop over to that video and I will put a little note on your note saying that you won and that you should reach out to me so we can get your shipping address, and you will get cool stuff from the studio. I think it's cool. I hope you think it's cool. And either way, it's free to you. All you have to do is be a subscriber and chit chat. Oh, we got some people chit chatting in the chit chat. We have Paladin Dan. You missed an opportunity to be Paladin. I'm not the one that says this, but you should totally be Paladin. Paladin, Paladin. And then Cormac. Hello, Cormac. Oh, and Cormac put a little weird emoji thing on there. I gotta take a drink. I'm talking too much. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know Cormac is an amazing 3D sculptor type person. He builds and kit bashes digitally to make some really, really cool vehicles and stuff specifically. I'm sure he does other stuff too, but the stuff I know him from is the things that he made for Warzone Eternal. And some of these things I'm going to put to use next year at Adepticon. Meow, meow, meow. But he recently put together a very cool, seemingly to scale Icarus fighter for the Brotherhood. It looks really cool. I know that he's built it because he wants it to be like crashed for like a piece of terrain. And I think that will be a sick piece of terrain, especially if you can build if he prints out another one or whatever, you can build up the nose to have it buried into like a sand berm that people could be over. I would love it. I would love it. Let's see, what else? I should be printing my version, my home copy of the. Now that I got my printer back up and running again, I should be printing my copy of the Reaver APC for Algaroth soon, because I have been using a very rough stand-in for the playtesting the couple of scenarios that I built for it. So it'd be nice to get a real one on the table and maybe even get it painted. All right, let's open the let's lay out the floor. Now that I've congratulated Useless Wizard for the comment raffle win, let's lay it out. Any questions from the audience? From Paladin or Cormac or possibly David or Avi? Avi. Ugh, this is terrible. I did not put enough flavor sauce in my SodaStream. It tastes like flat Fanta. Ugh, gnarly. All right. Well, can I talk more about the Reaver? I will talk more about the Reaver since we've shown it at several shows. So the Reaver itself comes from old school. Avi says he's so looking forward to the Nassau. After the concept art that Alex and I discussed at great length earlier, I guess it was later last week or the weekend, I am excited for it too. It is going to be very cool. It's going to be an awesome figure that I believe, barring anything major that changes during playtesting, I believe it's going to create kind of a third gameplay style for Algaroth players. Right now, the Algaroth, we'll get back to the Reaver, Cormac, I promise. Sorry, my eyeball itches. My lizard suit is coming off. No, the right now Algaroth kind of plays, there's almost like two camps. There's the pack as many undead legionnaires as you can on the field and a couple of dudes to sort of organize them, weight of numbers. And then there's the we'll have a handful of things because I need the activations, but then I'm definitely going to make sure that I bring like a Razid or a Nephirite or a couple of Praetorian Stalkers, kind of the big boy choir. I think with the introduction of the Nassauls, you are going to see a third mainstay Algaroth force, and it's gonna feel almost like a corporate force, with like more elite feeling forces, way more necromutants, fewer undead legionnaires, and probably not enough points for any of for a bunch of big guys. You might get one good support big guy, but I don't know if you'll need it, because you might be spending some of those points on more of an elite force. So yeah, I think that you're going to see. I know in my test games with them so far, I often field 2 Nassauls, and I don't think I've fielded a Razid with that force since then. If the force includes an Assault or 2, I don't think that I've put a big guy in there. No, that's not true. I did play one that I had a Praetorian Stalker in there, because I was trying to play with grenade support. I was trying to do a lot of grenades and templates, and we'll see. But either way, I am very much looking forward to the Nassau as a model, as concept art, as a narrative element to the game, basically furthering the narrative of that model, of that unit in the Mutant Chronicles, because it didn't get any love in the book. Its only real appearance is a paragraph and some rules stuff and a single picture. So we get to make the first Nassau model. We get to give it the first real story that tells about its narrative. And we get to, create a benchmark moment for the thing. Paladin says, have I named the gun yet? I have, but that will be a surprise, because I do not want, I don't want to put the cart too far ahead of the horse on that one. I don't think it would be even remotely a problem, but it is something that we're adding to the Mutant Chronicles universe, which means that it is something that I want to at least send an email over to Fred just to quick check and go, hey, are you cool with it? And hopefully they will be. Redacted confirmed. Yeah, see, I can't do that. Sorry, but no. To get back to Cormac's thing, talk about the Reaver. So because we said from the very beginning that Warzone this version of Warzone was not going to go, hard in the paint with giant vehicles, or, we were gonna try and leave our, we might have some of the big guys, the Biogiant, the Hurricane Walker, the Eradicator Death, because those are like icons of this game. And at the end of the day, they are just a single model with 1 or 2 crew, if any, depending on the creature. And that still keeps, they have maybe 2 ranged weapons. Very rarely will they ever have a, they won't feel like, if you put a Bauhaus Grizzly on the table, you'd be like, okay, well, this thing has 4 guns, a giant turret, like that almost will require a completely new set of rules. Whereas this style of a walker, or a kind of like, I'm going to make a reference to Warhammer 40K, but kind of like how a dreadnought is, yeah, it's big and it's cool and it's scary, and it's technically vehicle-ish, like in design, but it operates very much like just a big dude. That's what we kind of want to stick this to, is we want to stick to, vehicles like the Fenris Spike. The Fenris Spike is effectively just a fast dude. The Venusian Marshal is a riding a horse. What was it? What do I call the Holy Roller? The Death Angel. We call it the Holy Roller, but the Death Angel is a armored go-kart, like an ATV, with a single guy riding it. Like we want to leave our vehicles to that. So when we got this sculpt, oh, bye, Avi. Go stab people. Go stab people well at practice. And if you can drop at least one huzzah in my honor, I would be very happy. So stab someone at practice and then huzzah them, or huzzah and then stab. I don't care which way. But yeah, so when we were talking about the Reaver, we got this cool sculpt from our sculptor Julian, who, by the way, is just I'm so happy that Julian is joining the gaming side of things. It sounds so weird, but a bunch of when a sculptor or an artist is just not connected to the product at all, and they're just doing it for a job, I get it. I totally understand. And the results are still awesome. They're skilled sculptors, they're skilled artists, they're doing what it says on the tin. But when you get a sculptor or an artist or a writer that this is also something that they're excited about, it's so much cooler to know that they're getting to put some of their love of the game, their love of the universe, their love of the project into the project. And that means a ton to me, because that's honestly the reason why I take a lot of my gigs, is because it's something that I enjoy working on. It's something that I enjoy and I love. So I want to put my fingerprints in it. I want to stick my thumb in the pie. And knowing that Julian is putting together a force and talking about getting games in, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing him at a convention and getting to push models around with this guy. It's awesome. But Julian did the Reaver sculpt, and the Reaver APC is a little larger than what we would do for as a vehicle. It's contained, it holds a bunch of people. In a skirmish game, you could effectively get your almost entire force in this vehicle. And on top of that, we don't have any true anti-armor, anti-vehicle weaponry yet, because we don't have any vehicles like that. Down the road, obviously we're gonna want to put stuff in there like Blitzer's demolitions packs, the anti was it the not the Kampfkanon is the Bauhaus kind of anti-tank, anti-heavy personnel gun. Oh my gosh, was it the hammer from the the Giga Death Chain Ripper from the Eradicator Death Droid. That thing, obviously, that would turn a person into salsa, but it's designed to cut through bulkheads and cut through small tanks. And so once that stuff is more available to be able to represent the anti-tank portion of things, then we will start adding in, or then we'll have the opportunity to add in things that are a little more traditional vehicle type stuff. Until then, we want to try and keep our vehicles to that, like I said, like that kind of like exaggerated person style models. But then this Reaver shows up, and it's awesome, and it's fantastic looking, and it's kind of big for such a small game. But it took me a hot minute to put together some rules, basically turning it into a scenario piece, basically like a piece of terrain. Actually, it's not basically; it is a piece of terrain that has some special traits that allow it to move, that allow it to hold people, that allow one of those people to fire the gun. And the scenarios, rather than giving it a point cost and then turning it into something, okay, well, everybody and their brother who plays Algaroth is going to spend the extra points to get one of those. I didn't want to do that. So what I ended up doing is I turned it into effectively. So there's a type of game on if anybody's played Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, those kind of 6-on-6 or 5-5 video games where they have a mission that there's a thing that basically, if you're nearby, it moves. If you're not, it stays put. That kind of thing. We wanted to make a scenario that is basically one scenario is the dark side, the servants of darkness, is trying to get this across the table, meaning that they've got to have people nearby to make it go, so forth and so on. And then the other version is a protect. Basically, they have to protect it from. There's a very important person inside, and they just have to keep it from getting too many people, too many interact actions performed against it by the opponents. It's a couple of cool scenarios, and eventually, when we're at a place where we can start putting out new things, because we're still trying to get the fulfillment out the door. Once all the fulfillment's taken care of and retail is officially kicked on, we'll start looking at putting out actual new stuff, and that includes things like the Reaver APC. We don't know whether or not we're going to be selling them, or if we're going to maybe just sell the STL, or maybe it'll just be a cool thing that we offer. I don't know. I can't say one way or the other. I know that it is something that we want the universe out there to have, and I want to make sure when that happens that there are a couple of scenarios for people to use it with. Oh, I have some notes. Apollonius01 says, in one of your lives, you told us about a terrain company that you like, but have forgotten which one. I think it was Pre-Printed Paper Terrain. You are talking about Tinker Turf. The Tinker Turf, you Google them, spelled just like tinker, like someone who tinkers with stuff, and then TURF. They do amazing stuff, and in fact, they supplied all the terrain for the Warzone Eternal Champions tournament this year at Adepticon, and it worked out great. I love their stuff. If you put it together with wood glue, it is you could use it as a doorstop. I wouldn't, but you could. Paladan says Tinker Turf most likely. We use their terrain. Yep, that you are correct. Apollonia says, Tinker Turf, thank you, damn it, I was in my mind for months. I totally understand. There have been many things that like I'll be driving someplace and be like, oh, I gotta write that down. As soon as I'm not driving, I gotta write that down, and then I don't, and then it just fades away into the ether of being 47 years old. Korok, I am here. Well, hello, Zachary. How are you today? I hope you are wonderful. Time for me to drink my flat Fanta. Ugh. It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. Retail summer, definitely. Barring anything super weird. So all the Canadian packages and the Australian packages, they got out the door. A couple of the stragglers, I think we had like one or two backers in like Peru. They're out the door. The only thing we're waiting on now is basically the process order from the shipping company that we're using. The shipping company, or the distribution company that's using it, or not, fulfillment center that's doing our stuff for the UK and Europe. As soon as Alex is back from his he had a his regular day gig, sent him on a convention out to Las Vegas this week, so he could not do anything with the pallets and stuff for UK or Europe this week. But I'm going to assume that those are probably going to get to go out sometime next week, I would hope, barring anything weird because it's palletized. And then once that is out and all the non-retail backers are taken care of, we'll get the retailers stuff put into packages and get that stuff sent out so the retailers can have stuff. And then once everything is out the door, then Alex and I and our partners will discuss how this retail situation through us will go. No, our next convention that we're doing is in late June, and that is Origins in Columbus, Ohio. And we're hoping to have retail fully up and going by then. That's the goal. Because we want to be able to sell, hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully maybe even sell some new stuff at the show. Can't promise anything. Don't know if that's going to be something that we can even do. The world changes literally every day that we wake up. So I am feeling confident, and I think it's going to go wonderfully. But you never know. The world could be a completely different place tomorrow morning. Korok says he had an Icarus fighter jet show up in the mail. I think our dear friend Cormac may have printed you one. I think that that's very cool, and I think that you, when you create either some kind of rad crashed Icarus, or if you set up a cool battlefield that's got like an airfield or something on it, that would be cool to have one, waiting in the wings, no pun intended. So all engines full on Warzone. I should actually be able to start slinging words again toward the Shadowrun novel. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to put words to it. I need to get back on track with that, because those are fun stories to tell, and it's a nice outlet for me. Dark Sigge says, hi from Sweden. I have a question. Will we see Bauhaus Hussars and Dragoons with wolf masks in the future? Okay, so Bauhaus Hussars are definitely coming. In fact, they are the next Bauhaus unit to be released. In fact, I mentioned earlier in the live that I got to see some sculpts this week, some digital sculpts that need to be tweaking, or that need some tweaking. And they were the Hussars. In fact, they look great. I mean, they're basic because they're supposed to be. They're the Bauhaus. This is the Bauhaus grunt troop. They look suitably grunty, but they're in good poses, and I think they're going to be really. They're going to take paint real well. There was just a couple of things that needed tweaked and adjusted on them from the casting purposes. There was places that would have created pretty gnarly undercuts, which would be very bad for production. So we got that all changed out. As far as Dragoons with wolf masks, okay. So I don't know if I have ever talked to Alex. Obviously, we eventually want to do Dragoons. They're awesome. I think they're great. They've got cool armament. I like the idea of them being sort of the accompaniment to larger armored forces that might not be at the Warzone Eternal skirmish, but they might be nearby. I kind of dig the idea of them being sort of vehicle specialists, or mechanically inclined specialists. And I know that some people do not like the wolf masks on the Dragoons because it's apparently it's only one house uses them in the lore. But I love them. I think that they're super rad, and I would absolutely love the ability for our game to not reinvent them, but update them to today's aesthetic. So it's not this giant chunky Tupperware, motorcycle helmet. That maybe it's more like give them the regular sort of Venusian Ranger style helmet that's got like clamps and have like the wolf mask be almost something that they get to put on that like kind of like locks into place or something. Yeah, there's definitely a way to do that style to keep that cool wolf mask helmet feel without doing super gigantic, oversized Batman ears and so forth and so on. So I really hope so. Alex and I have not talked about the aesthetics on them because they're still a ways off. But I definitely want to do them, and I definitely want to at least have one of them that's got that iconic wolf helmet. Korak says, I miss anything Nassau related. Nothing. I talked a little bit about them earlier, but nothing that I haven't said in the live chats on Mondays. Apollonia says, question, do we need to wash the minis before painting? Okay, so COcast uses talc as a mold release, not any kind of grease or chemical release. It just uses talc. So no, you don't need to wash them, but I'm a firm believer in you have absolutely no idea what was on the person's hands that handled it for you. Maybe they set it down on something, before it gets packed. There is no harm in washing COcast, so you might as well give it a go. You don't have to, but I do think that it's an extra step that just makes sense. Like I wash my clothes when I buy them before I put them on. I wash my dishes before I eat off of them. So I think that washing your models before you prime them is a good idea. You do not have to, but again, if you're already asking about it, it means that that it's something that the painting process sometimes requires. So I say go ahead and do it. Siggy says, I was thinking of the wolf helmet from the RP book, the first edition one. Oh man, I would need to pull up that image. But Alex and myself, we want to try and tie in as much of the old lore and old imagery as we can, just kind of bringing into a more common day aesthetic or a more modern day aesthetic, but without losing the feel. So I'd have to take a look at that picture. I think I know which one you're talking about. I think it's a black and white line drawing from the side, I think. Or honestly, I might be getting myself confused with old Space Wolf imagery, which is also possible. I've played and read a lot of games over the years, but I don't remember. But I'd have to take a look, and I will look. I'm not going to do it here on the live because we only got about another 17 minutes, and I don't want to waste a bunch of your guys' time sitting here clicking and clacking on my screen. Ooh, look at this thing. I'll just take a look later and make a note that is something that you would like to see. But yeah, so see any other questions coming in? I don't think so. Let's see what else. Speaking of role-playing games, so we announced through Evil Genius, we announced the Return of the Living Dead role-playing game. Officially licensed from the Return of the Living Dead folks, letting us mine all 3 existing movies and the fourth movie's script we had access to, which is not something that is actually released yet. I think the movie comes out later this year. But it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool book. That book, we're opening our Kickstarter on the 27th of May. I think it's May 27th is the launch date. We are very much looking forward to hopefully that being a big success, between it being a very, very popular license. Obviously, the Everyday Heroes game has gone very, very well. But I think that those two things combined, it's our first real foray into horror. And I know some of the cool stretch goals that are going to be on that Kickstarter, and there's a few of them that I think even some of my miniature game friends might be interested in. So if you follow me on any of my socials, click the link, follow the Kickstarter for Return of the Living Dead, and just wait for the awesomeness, because it's coming, and it's coming for your brains. Send more cops. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I had that was like must do. Oh, you know what? I got one of these from Adepticon. We'll do a little. So it's the Starship Vengeance Tenfold Dungeon. One of my buddies got it, and he knows that I do a lot of sci-fi stuff, a lot of Bub. No, Cormac Bub is from Day of the Dead. So comment, I'll do this unboxing later. You're gonna get me talking about horror movies. So the Return of the Living Dead franchise is different than the Night of the Living Dead franchise. They are two separate entities. The Night of the Living Dead, which is the black and white original George Romero, slow walking zombies, bullet to the head, they drop, so forth and so on. And that one is the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. I believe we've got like Island of the Dead, Dead Reckoning. There's a bunch of those. The Romero series, and there's the one remake that Zack Snyder did that turns them into a fast moving zombie. Of Dawn of the Dead. The Romero verse. There you go. There's a bunch of those. The Return of the Living Dead is a totally separate franchise that is all based off of the trioxin chemical, turning all dead, anything that's been touched by this toxin, turns all those dead folk into these truly unstoppable. It's not even just like shot to the head. Like they can't, you have to dismember them completely down to like if they have the ability to move, they will. They also are actually kind of smart zombies. They know how to drive cars and occasionally shoot guns, and they can talk. One of my favorite scenes is a bunch of zombies. They hit a roadblock, and they eat a bunch of cops that are at the roadblock, and one of them gets onto the radio and is like, "Send more cops." So there's, I don't want to say more humor in the Return of the Living Dead, because it's still a zombie movie and they're still grisly, but it is definitely more tongue-in-cheek than the Romeroverse version. Romeroverse is very much slow plotting survival horror. Will we make it through? Return of the Living Dead is it is only a matter of time before we will become a zombie, and when we become a zombie, will we be able to stave off the desire to eat flesh and brains long enough to stay a person as long as they can. You find out later on that they can use like pain to kind of push the zombie feelings aside. And I mean, I think they're both amazing universes for completely different reasons. Our role-playing game just covers the Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and Part 3, and then the unreleased, or as yet unreleased, Part 4 in that book. But yeah, so look at you talking about Bub. So Bub is the somewhat smart zombie from Day of the Dead in the Romeroverse. Yes, I am a giant horror movie nerd, which is why I was kind of sad that I did not play a larger role in the creation of the Return of the Living Dead role-playing game. I helped out where I could. I did some tweaks to the rules here and there, some adjustments, but I was not the main pen on that one because while that was being worked on, I was creating a bunch of new stuff for the Evil Genius Sidekick app and a bunch of stuff for Intergalactic Heroes. So I had other irons in the fire, and at some point I have to be honest with myself and go, Bryan, you cannot do everything. Let other people do stuff. And that's exactly what happened here. Is that this book does not have, I may have put a fingerprint or two on it, but it is definitely not my work. But the person, the people who are directly involved with creating it, both big fans of the universe, and one of them is such a huge fan that like we had to kind of occasionally remind him, hey, other people get to work on this project too. So it's really in good hands, and I am very much looking forward to seeing hopefully that Kickstarter does gangbusters. I think that it can do really well, especially knowing that we have ways of producing some of the elements in a way that won't sting us with a bunch of tariffs if they still exist when it comes around to that time. And with a smaller book, it actually should be relatively easy to get that printed printed domestically. I can't promise anything, obviously, because these are decisions made on someone else's desk. But we have talked about it behind closed doors at Evil Genius that we will need to find ways to make this work, because we think that it's going to be a really good product, and we think that it's going to be popular with Return of the Living Dead fans, as well as fans of horror-based role-playing games and so forth and so on. So I think that it's going to be a good thing to be involved in, and I hope that you guys at least will check it out, even if you're not like big role players, because there's going to be some other cool stuff, some interesting stretch goals and add-ons that we're adding to it that might be fun, even if you're just kind of fans of zombie movies. All right, so we're down to like the last 8 minutes. I want to try and get a couple more questions from you folks before I call it quits for this morning. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to go open this thing again. I got good comment when I went to go open it last time. We'll see what happens. All right, so basic second wave of war. Oh, Apollonius asked a second wave of Warzone. So we have said what is in the it's not necessarily going to. We worry about things. The Kickstarter wave was the initial stuff we had to do. I've been calling it the second wave because it's the second round of scopes that we created. We are probably not going to release them all at once. There's a lot of logistics involved with being like, okay, here's another bunch of things, but we are going to be able to release them in relatively rapid succession, because they are getting ready to be, all the scopes are being done and whatnot. As far as timing factor goes, I have no idea. It would be disingenuous of me to be like, well, sometime around July 14th, like there's no way for me to know exactly when and which units will be, the first ones that get added. I expect, and I hope to try and talk Alex into it, that however we end up launching our retail service, the retail web store or whatever, I would really love for that to have part of that launch have at least one or two of those new units as kind of the hey, welcome to our web store, check out this new stuff that's now available. I really think that that's a good idea. And I think that it's also a great way for us to test the viability of however we do the web store, the web store mechanics, if you will, like, the from order to fabrication to boxing to shipping, it'll give us a good idea of how long a couple of units takes for a lot of different people. But I can't say for any certainty what it'll be. But I know when we get a little closer to that time, Alex and I and probably some of our partners will be our fabrication partners will probably be talking about how that's going to go. Because I like I said, we've got several of them that are basically ready to rock and roll. We just really need to make sure that all of our fulfillment is handled before we try and start opening up new doors and new cans of potential worms. All right. So in those last few minutes before any other questions come in, you know what? I'm going to save this. I think maybe I will unbox this in 2 weeks. Because next week I'm going to talk about Xeogenesis. Yeah, I think in 2 weeks I might unbox this. So let's set this off to the side because I only have like 4.5 minutes left. The last thing I want to do is like, oh, let's get this open and say, here's one thing. Oh, time's up. So let's go ahead and give me one more question from somebody in the chat while I'm taking a sip of my flat stuff. Nothing? Nobody has any deep burning questions? It normally means either that I've said too much or maybe you guys are listening to me while you're doing something else and you're like, I'd type, but I can't. Because we'll die, because we're in a car. I'm flying a plane. I'm on the International Space Station. Nothing? Well, all right. I guess we are. There's no other questions. Nobody wants to know anything from good old Bryan today. All right. Well, so as we get towards the end, if something pops up, I'll answer it. But as we get to the end, I do want to again congratulate Useless Wizard on their win. As soon as I publish this, I will comment on their comment and let them know. I want you guys to be safe, wash your hands, get your shots, wear your mask. Don't do anything that might get yourselves injured or otherwise. Just kind of generally. Before I see my Dark Siggy's on it, will we see the Venusian Marshal? Yes. In fact, if you were a Kickstarter backer, you will see a junior version of the Venusian Marshal in the Graviton Protocol PDF, and those cards that will come out with the stat cards that will come out alongside that. If you were not a Kickstarter backer, the Graviton Protocol will still be available. Same thing with the personalities that come with it. But you will probably not see them. You won't get they won't get directly sent to your email like everybody else's. Oh, you were a Kickstarter backer. Yeah. So basically, the Graviton Protocol does have a handful, one for each faction, of unique personalities that are designed for you to use a model out of the starter faction or the faction starter box that you can either paint differently or just denote him and say, hey, this one is this guy. And the Bauhaus one is a junior marshal. So he's not quite graduated to the point where he's got a pony, where he's got his horse yet. But you'll get an idea of what the Marshal will be capable of when we eventually get around to making his official and kind of, higher leveled version that does ride around on his cloned Terran horse. All right, so now back to what you're saying. Hope got that last question in. Thank you, Siggy. Please, I guess just it comes down to everybody be safe. It's a weird world out there. And I want to make sure that you guys keep coming back for these, and tell your friends, share, link, subscribe, tell others to do the same, and comment in the comment section, because that's how you get into the comment raffle, is be a subscriber and comment below. Just try and leave every room that you enter a little happier when you exit. And I think that everybody will be better off for it. Until next time, thanks for sticking with me for this live. Sorry that it wasn't a planned episode. That's on me, hence the oops. And until next week, just go out there, have some fun, and play some games, because I will. See you guys next week.